Good morning, Brother York. Morning, sir.
All right, morning, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
What are we doing today? What are we doing today?
Yes, sir. Today we want to look at the outline that you would have sent to us. The miscellaneous
All finished.
something.
And about the date of
I can't hear
the
you.
book of
I need to hear you. I'm not hearing. Talk in the mic, yes?
Alright.
So what are we doing today?
Event.
What happened?
Okay. Mhm.
I'm not hearing at all.
Oh.
No, there is just something seems to be some technological problem.
Can you hear us now, sir?
Yes, I hear you now.
Oh, okay, good, good.
Sorry. I was asking, what are we doing today?
Yes, sir. We were saying that we supposed to look at the outline that you would have sent to us, the miscellaneous
All
information.
right. And since morning, I sent you the questions from the miscellaneous. So that's fine. We can look at the miscellaneous today.
Yes,
And,
sir. Good,
and if
good.
there-
And
if there is-
one thing, sir.
yeah, man.
One thing, sir. I'd like to have some explanation about how Esther is fit in the story of Nehemiah. I
Yes.
realize there is a part which says that Esther married the king, was sent one of the decree.
Right,
So
right.
I was asking, well, how come? Was Esther living in that same period or what?
Yes, if you notice the last discussion in the miscellaneous notes. I don't know if you remember reading that. It is called the Medo-Persian Empire.
Yes, sir, I've read it.
And the last sentence says that she became queen of the kingdom in 479 BC.
Yes,
And
sir.
it was between the first and second returns. So the story of Esther seemed to have taken place between the events of Ezra and Nehemiah. Okay.
So this means, yes, sir. So this means that after, well, I don't want to say after, because, well, say for instance, like the story of Naaman when he wanted to destroy the people. Now, which one of the priests was there at that time?
Which one
Was
of
it Ezra?
Which one of the what?
Priests, like the spiritual leader that Israel would have had.
Well, remember, this is not in Jerusalem, you know. They were still in exile. This was in Persia. So there were no priests as such there. I don't know if you have read Esther yet.
Yes, sir. And that's why I have this confusion. When I read Esther, the story, or I understood it, so I'm asking now, how does it fit with this account, like the book of Ezra, what the events that happened? Because if I'm right, at that time, the children of Israel were free, because
They were in,
when Esther married the king, I think Mordecai was, in the city, but they were not laboring. Now, when Naaman saw Mordecai and he envied him or envied him, now he went to Esther and tell her that if she does not do something, they're going to allow Naaman to kill all of them.
yes,
That's
yes,
when she went to the king and asked her for their life.
yes, sir.
All right. Sir.
So
All
you
right.
have to look at the dates. The dates. I don't know if you have seen this in your reading in the book online. Have you seen any dates?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've not reached from Esther yet. From
Eh?
that, I've not reached from to Esther yet from that book.
Oh, all right. So let me just remind you of some dates.
Yeah, you can see the screen, sir.
Yes, man.
Yes. So we see here. These are the dates of the book. These are the dates of the events from the book of Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. You know, the whole idea is that after the captivity in Babylon, when they come back to Jerusalem, there is a world power that weighs, which is Persian, which is made in Persia. Now, this book, they are waiting basically from this period. Media in Persia. Medes in Persia.
Yeah.
This book were like they take event from this period, like the Persian period, and it's finished. You understand? So I can say my difference is that this date, all right, how can I say that? This date, Ezra, you see Ezra in 458. So when they come back to Babylon, they were in that date, 5th and 38th. Now Ezra took place in 458, and Easter took event in 479.
Right. So here's the story. Although Esther follows Nehemiah in our Bible, the events that took place in Esther were about 30 years before the events in Nehemiah.
Yes, sir.
That is, so don't let us be confused by the way the book is set out. Although it comes after Nehemiah in our Bible, the events in Esther took place before, some 30 years before that which is recorded in Nehemiah.
So we can say after the comeback to Babylon in 538.
Yeah, they were still in exile. I mean, you have to understand that Esther, the story is still set in the Medo-Persian Empire. These Esther and the people there are still in exile. They have not come back to Jerusalem yet.
Yes.
That is the situation.
Oh, so there was a group who went to Persia, sir?
Was that?
There was a group who went to Persia, sir?
No, you have to remember that these are the same people who were captured by Babylon.
Yes, but the King Cyrus
was captured by Persia. Babylon was overthrown by Persia.
Yes, sir.
Exiles, the Jewish exiles who were there in Babylon now became exiles under the Persian Empire.
Okay, so the same country that was Babylon became Persia.
Well, it's not a matter of became Persia, it's just that they were captured by a new world power.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
everybody, the Babylonians as well as the exiles, were now under the management of the Medo-Persian Empire.
yes, sir. So what give problem
You
now?
notice it says these two kingdoms, Medo-Persia, joined forces to defeat the Babylonians.
Yes, sir.
So everybody under Babylon, the Babylonian people, as well as those they had captured, were now under the rule of the Medo-Persians. And they ruled until, you have to remember your history. If you remember when Daniel interpreted the vision for Nebuchadnezzar, he told Nebuchadnezzar, look, you are ruling now, but then there's going to come two nations that will defeat you. That's the Medo-Persians. And they will rule for a while, and then they will be defeated by Alexander the Great, the Greeks, and then they will be defeated by the Romans. And it is during the period of the Romans that God would send his son Jesus, and the kingdom would come and break up all kingdoms is the kingdom of our Lord and Savior Jesus. So that is the vision which Nebuchadnezzar had in the book of Daniel, chapter 5. And this is why I say it's important that we see other scriptures. Daniel chapter 5. So that is the story. Although Esther is found after Nehemiah in our Bible, the things in the book of Esther took place before what happened in the book of Nehemiah. For example, Esther became queen in 479, and you have to remember that Nehemiah goes back to Jerusalem for the first time in 445. So this is after, because you remember that the way the years were counted is not like our years that are counted here in the period called AD. In the years called BC, the years were counted downward. The bigger years came first, and then it went down to the lower years. So for example, Esther became queen in 479, and then some 34 or so years later, under the king here, Nehemiah was able to get permission to leave the land of Persia. Because notice he says in chapter 1 and verse number 1, I was in the citadel of Susa. And that is in the land of Persia. And notice he was getting permission from the king Artaxerxes. And if you remember, we gave you some dates. I don't know if you in those notes that I sent to you. If you notice under the section entitled The Persian Kings of Ezra's Day, the dates of the reigns are important for you to see. All right?
Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, man. I'm
Oh,
here.
okay, sir. All right, sir.
I'm saying the Persian Kings of Ezra's Day. If you go to that note, you see it in your notes?
Yes, sir.
So you have Cyrus from 559 to 530, and then Darius 522 to 486, and then Xerxes, or he was called Ahasuerus, 486 to 465. He was Esther's husband. And then Artaxerxes was the one who allowed yeah, go to the next one. Go down to the next.
No.
It is entitled The Persian Kings of Ezra's Day. I don't remember which slide it is. The Persian Kings of Ezra's Day.
Looking for it, sir. All right, sir. I see it here.
Right,
Slide
and so
13.
Xerxes or Ahasuerus was the king who was in power when Esther went to him to get permission to try to stop Haman from getting rid of the people. And then Artaxerxes 465 to 424 was the one who allowed Nehemiah to return. So this is why these dates are very important. You'll probably see them in the book. You said you found the book online, right?
Yes, sir. Well, based on the research that I've made, I've found out that Esther was written from about 464 to 430. So that's where I got a bit confused, because you have said that the events have happened 30 years before Nehemiah.
Right.
But I found it, I could not give a direct situation or locate it directly.
All right. So what will happen is that this is why I sent you these additional notes so that you could see what's going on. And there will be another set of notes called Miscellaneous Notes 2. I'm working on them now, but I haven't finished yet. I'm still working on them. So maybe by the next class or before the next class, I should have them ready to send to you. Okay.
All right.
So do you want us to go through these now, each of these slides from the beginning?
Yes, sir.
Or I'm asking a question. How do you want us to handle these? You must say it.
Oh, okay, sir.
Are you comfortable with what you got, or you still have questions?
Israel had some questions earlier. I don't know if he is satisfied now.
Yes.
Or do you want to read these up some more before we have a discussion?
I've read these already, sir.
All right. So
Yes,
we
sir.
don't need to go through them religiously, do we?
No, sir.
All right. What about you, Israel?
Yeah, I'm okay. Only the problem that I have is the king, the dynasty of the king, of the empire, the Persian Empire. Is
All right.
Darius was the father of Darius, Artaxerxes was the father of Artaxerxes. Only that I have some problem with. And when I read through, I have concluded, sir.
We
All
cannot.
right. If you notice, Darius came before Ahasuerus.
Yes.
Darius was the king who was in power when Daniel was thrown in the lions den, you know.
Yes, yes, sir.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you have to understand that Judah and Israel were in exile when the Medes and Persians took over Babylon. And so the exiles who were there were under the rule of the Medo-Persians. So Darius was king when the men reported Daniel to the king. It was Darius, and he had made his decree. I don't know if you remember that, but you could go and look at it.
That's
In the book of Daniel, chapter 5, Belshazzar, who was king of Babylon, was killed. Daniel 5:30. And verse number 31, Daniel 5:31 says, and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at age 62.
Yes, sir.
In chapter 6, the men reported Daniel to Darius. He was in the lion's den under King Darius. And if you remember reading that story, Darius was very upset that he had to put Daniel in the lion's den. He didn't sleep that night, and he went and called him the next morning.
Yes, sir.
Daniel was alive. So it was King Darius, this same Darius, who ruled from 522 to 486 BC, who was in charge of the empire, the Medo-Persian Empire that had overthrown Babylon. So this is history. This is not just the Bible, it is also history. So we have to put them in context and within the number of years, within the years that they rule. All right?
That shows that the Bible is really the book of God, sir. Because when you truly go to this place and you ask about information, they tell us that truly this event has taken place as the Bible said it.
Yes, sir. And that is crucial. There's a lesson that we did some time ago on the power of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the points that was made is that the Bible is historically accurate.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes.
So although there are people who have questions and who mock the Bible and so, when we study it carefully, and this is why those of us who are like you and other students and teachers, we are in a very unique place because we have the ability to study the Bible and related subjects in depth, and check all these things. The average member of the church is not able, well, he or she, if you want to, can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I, who are students and teachers of the scriptures and do this thing every day, and then preach and teach on weekends, have the ability to go in depth into the scriptures.
Yes,
so we can put these, we can put all these events, put dates to these events, and put the individuals, the priests and the prophets and the kings who work together.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So any other questions?
No, sir, I have none.
All right, so what I will do is I have sent you some questions from this.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. I've started the others already.
What I would like for you to do is do those questions in your time, okay?
Yes, sir.
Also, when you get a chance, I want you to, you say you have found the book online.
Yes, sir, I did.
So I would like you to read as much as you can. I have found it. Let me see if I could suggest to you where to read.
From page 464.
Because I got a copy.
Yeah, I
Côté Bayer, l'école, librairie.
Tapé library.
I think it's about page 492, if I'm not mistaken. But let me see.
All right, just go to the search bar again.
But the Johnson, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Easy. Library. So legend. Yeah, click here. Click on go down. Yeah, click in.
I'm trying to locate it.
Which one, sir? For which book exactly?
I think the one with Ezra begins at
464.
page 464.
Yes, sir.
So if you could read from there, right through Ezra and then Nehemiah.
Yes, sir. I've started already. But
Right, so if you could read those two. I will also try to compile some questions on those. I will go through them and see if I could give you some questions that will help you to better follow that.
okay, sir.
So Ezra and Nehemiah, I think that is right up to about the Nehemiah one starts on page 496.
Go, yeah, that book. Yeah, go ahead, go.
And goes to about page 520.
It would be
So you're reading from about 465 to 520. All right, so you want to make a note of that, 465 to 520. Let us not, if you want to read Esther, fine. But since we haven't done Esther yet, I'd like to hold off on that until we do Ezra and Nehemiah. What do you think?
all right, sir. Yes, sir.
It's up to you, and I mean, it's your class, but I'm just making the suggestions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I
In
know.
the meantime, what I'll do this week is I will go through this too and try to find some questions on both sections, on Ezra and Nehemiah, and send them to you.
Yes, sir.
This is to send questions to you. This is to help you to get a better feel for the notes.
All right, sir. But remember, we had the first set of questions already.
Yes, man, the regular question.
Okay.
The
All
regular
right.
questions that I sent for you, there are questions on all three books in one. If you
Yes, sir.
remember that.
Yes, sir.
So you can deal with those at your own pace.
Okay, sir.
And then remember, I just sent you some questions on the first set of miscellaneous books,
Yes, sir.
right? So it is not just to send you a whole heap of questions. These questions, they will give you a grade, but at the same time, they will help you to better understand what you have read. Let's put it that way. All right?
Yes, sir, I know. But just wanted to remind you because
Yes, man, I have that in mind. But remember,
all right.
Remember, we have all of October and then all of November, you know.
Yes, sir, we do.
School does not close until I think the first week of December.
Yes, sir.
We'll spend time like this answering your questions that you may have, which some of the things you don't understand. I'm not just going to go through the slides
Yes, sir.
religiously and assume that you and I understand everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because as the teacher, I am also learning, so I want you to understand.
There is every time something new to learn.
So anything else that you want us to answer during the class now? If not, we will let you go and do some more reading and answer questions.
All right, sir. Good, good. No, I don't have any.
Okay, Israel?
I'm okay, sir. I'm okay. If I have more questions, I will.
And listen to me, feel free anytime, email me or WhatsApp me or anytime, because I'm at home.
Yes,
and I
sir.
teach you and I teach year 1 and I teach Maxim.
Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
I teach Maxim on Thursday and I teach Golding on Friday. So I'm
Yes,
really
sir.
free on Tuesdays, and I do my own studying on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at home.
Okay, sir.
You understand? Because some of my books are right here near to me on the floor in my bedroom. And some are on a shelf up there as well.
Good,
And
good.
some of the books are over here in the office at the church,
Okay, sir.
as well as those up at the building. So
Yes, sir.
I'm
All
operating here from the house. So feel free to email me or WhatsApp or whatever.
right.
Anytime.
Good, good.
If you email me or WhatsApp me at night and I'm sleeping, I will get it the next morning and answer you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No.
Okay.
Right, so that's it for today then.
All right, sir. Take care.
Have a good day.
So if you talk to Wood and Roy, you could let them know what we're doing. I have also sent them all this information.
Oh, okay, sir. Good, good.
All right, good.
I'll talk to them.